How much money do you need to save to be able to retire successfully today? Now, is that number $500,000? Is it $1 million? Is it 5 or 10 million? Or have you come up with your own number that will allow you to retire successfully? As it turns out, most people have some magical random number in their head that they're trying to achieve, but in reality, there's rarely a rhyme or reason behind that number. I'm Chris Abts of Cornerstone Wealth Management, and you are watching Redefining Retirement. This is where you can count on straightforward and objective advice on the toughest challenges that you'll face in retirement today. Saving and investing for retirement, that's critical. But achieving some random financial savings goal, that will not ensure that you'll retire successfully. So how do you determine just how much money you need to save for your retirement? And coming up on today's show, we're going to dispel the myth behind achieving some random financial number, plus what it really takes to retire successfully today, along with some simple strategies to help you make your dreams a reality. Here's what's coming up. It doesn't happen automatically. You must act. And it comes down to understand the difference between tax preparation and tax planning. And when it comes to determining the amount of money that you need to save for retirement, the first thing to focus on is to have a strategy for how you're going to generate income in retirement. Far too many people are taking a lot more risk than they realize inside their IRAs and 401ks and investment accounts. I'm really excited about today's topic, so sit back and relax. Redefining Retirement starts right here, right now. Saving for retirement is a great start, but it's what you do with your money that really matters. Success in retirement, it comes down to reducing your taxes, generating your income, minimizing your risk, maximizing your Social Security, and more. Welcome to Redefining Retirement. I'm Chris Abts of Cornerstone Wealth Management, and this is where you can count on straightforward and objective advice on how to make the most of every dollar that you've saved for retirement. And today, we're asking the very common question, which is, how much money do you need to save to retire successfully today? Now, is that number $500,000? Is it $1 million? Is it 5 million? Or have you come up with your own number that will allow you to successfully retire? The fact is, most folks have some magic number that they're trying to achieve, but there's rarely a logical reason behind that number. See, saving and investing for retirement is important, obviously, but achieving some random financial number is not going to guarantee that you'll retire successfully. In fact, there are many, many people who retired with millions and millions of dollars and still went broke. And then on the other side of the coin, there are many, many people who retired with just a modest amount of money, and because of proper planning, their money lasted and they had a great retirement. So how much money do you need to save to be able to retire successfully today? Here's the truth. You won't know how much money you need to save until you have a plan for taxes, a plan for Social Security, health care, a plan to generate income, minimizing risk, and the list goes on. So today, we're going to unravel the myth behind achieving some random financial number, plus what it really takes to retire successfully today. Far too often, people think they need to achieve some random financial number to be able to retire successfully. Now, while we're going to dispel that myth, we're also going to learn what it really takes. It is understandable that people think that way. Look at all the confusing random financial number guidance that exists out there. So for example, to retire today, Fidelity says we need 10 times our salary by age 67. USA Today says you need 1.8 million. Money.com says you need 1.27 million. CNBC says you need 70% of your pre-retirement income. MarketWatch says you need to multiply your expected monthly expenses by 12 and multiply that number by 25. Vanguard says you need to save 12 to 15% of your pay each year. And yet another one says to take your current annual expenses and multiply that number by 30. And then another one says to multiply your monthly salary by 200. Wow. So which is it? Who's correct? You have all these different recommendations. Which one is correct? And that's why we're doing the show today, to answer the question, how much money do you need to retire successfully today? It is an extremely common question by so many people that walk into our offices asking the question, have I saved enough? Or when can I retire? So today, we're going to dispel the myth that there is a set amount of money that you need to save to be able to retire. Folks, there is no one size fits all. The correct way to know how much you need to retire and to know when you can retire can only be found by going through a thoughtful, methodical process. Only then will you know if things are going to be okay. And when it comes to determining the amount of money that you need to save for retirement, the first thing to focus on is to have a strategy for how you are going to generate income in retirement. Think about it. With every paycheck, you've been putting money into your 401k or IRA. You've been doing this for years. And one of the pillars of a successful game plan for retirement is to make sure that you have a plan for how you will generate enough stable and predictable income. In other words, the worst thing you can do is lie to yourself by saying, hey, I've got $1 million in my IRA or 401k and I'm going to be just fine. Instead, you need to make sure that you have a well thought out plan. So the risk of burning through your retirement savings too soon does not happen to you. The reality is, if you have, say, $4,000 a month coming in from Social Security, but you're only spending $3,000 a month, you're not going to need $1 million to retire. But if you're spending, say, $15,000, $20,000 a month, then you're going to need a lot more than $1 million to retire. So how much do you need? Well, the answer to that depends on the lifestyle you want. And you need to make your money work for you to generate that income in retirement. And today, that is more important than ever before. Now, here's another rule of thumb that's also a myth. So let's dispel this one too, because so many times we see these news articles like this one we just read from CNBC where they said, hey, to maintain your same standard of living in retirement, the rule of thumb says you need to replace at least 70% of your pre-retirement income. Now here's the problem with that. Do you really want to live off of 70% of the income you had while you were working? Don't you want to travel? Do you want to go on trips? Do you want to spend time with friends and family? Do you want to pursue hobbies and new passions? Well, much of that costs money. And in retirement, you'll also have fewer tax deductions, no dependents. Your home is hopefully paid off. So obviously, you want to ensure that your income is more than enough to allow you to enjoy your retirement years while doing the things that bring you meaning and enjoyment. So how much money do you need to retire? Well, it all begins with income. As long as you can replace your income and pay for your lifestyle, you can retire successfully. So it doesn't matter if you're age 35 or age 65. But so many people think it's about this magic number. And given what's happening today in the stock market, the economy, interest rates, inflation, global unrest, well, trying to grow your nest egg in retirement, it comes with a lot of risk. And while most people don't really think about it, the safest and fastest way to grow your nest egg right now is by reducing the taxes on your retirement accounts. Why? Because the less money that you pay in tax, the more money you'll have to spend on yourself and your family in retirement. So that's why we put something together for you today, a free Cornerstone Retirement Tax Savings Analysis. So here's how this works. First, we'll get some basic information from you. We'll take a look at where you save for retirement. We'll determine which tax saving strategies are best suited for your specific situation. And then we'll sit down with you and we'll show you exactly how much money you could save. Now, this isn't about some obvious deductions where you can save a few dollars. The tax savings could be tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, which basically means more money in your pocket to do what you want to do. So if you saved at least $250,000 for retirement, call today to schedule your free tax savings analysis. And coming up next, we'll look at what will likely be your biggest expense in retirement. We'll be right back.
Approaching retirement requires a shift in how you view your investment and income portfolio. Are you making the transition successfully? Author Chris Abts, in his latest book, Maximizing Your Income, will show you how to structure your income while avoiding 10 retirement pitfalls. You'll also learn 3 strategies to create sustainable retirement income. Learn to plan for potential healthcare costs and how to avoid 4 common yet costly Social Security mistakes. The information you gain from this book may help you retire sooner and help you stay retired. Get your complimentary copy today at MaximizingYourIncome.com and take control of your retirement.
Could your tax bill in retirement be larger than you think? Taxes can play a significant role in retirement. After all, they determine how much of your hard-earned savings you get to keep and how much you send to the IRS. If you're like many savers, you may not know the total amount of taxes you could potentially pay. I believe information is critical to making informed decisions about retirement. If you agree, I want to share a resource that can help. Use your phone camera to scan this QR code. It will take you to a page that generates a quick report that can help evaluate your potential tax bill in retirement.
If you'd like more information about financial planning, industry news, and market updates, you can subscribe to our blog. Visit our website at cornerstoneway.com. The resource request box is located on the bottom right-hand corner of the homepage. There you can submit your information to subscribe to our blog.
Welcome back to Redefining Retirement, where you can count on straightforward and objective advice on how you can make your money go a lot further in retirement. This week, we're asking the question, how much money do you really need to save to retire successfully today? And is it really a magic number? Now, before the break, we learned that you really don't know how much money that you'll need until you have a plan for how you're going to generate income in retirement, a plan for Social Security and taxes and healthcare, and all these other important areas that go into planning for retirement. Now, the second myth we're going to dispel when it comes to this magic number that you need to save for retirement, it's all about taxes. Folks, the amount of money that you need to retire successfully, it depends on just how big of a tax bite that Uncle Sam will take out of your hard-earned savings. Simply put, the more tax you'll pay, the less you'll have to spend. For this very reason, you need to take advantage of tax planning to reduce your taxes during your retirement. Now, for the next wave of retirees, taxes will play a big role. Here's why. The U.S. national debt has been growing quickly. 10 years ago, it was about 16 trillion. Today, it's almost 33 trillion. And in 6 years, it's projected to reach 45 to 50 trillion. Now, at the same time, interest rates have risen, which means the interest on the debt is growing exponentially, which makes the debt level increase even faster. Now, on top of this, we have all these unfunded expenses. So things like Social Security, Medicare, and the list goes on. So while everyone talks about 33 trillion as a national debt, according to David Walker, the former comptroller of the United States government, he says the real number, which includes the total U.S. debt, including liabilities and unfunded promises, the real number is 123 trillion. Let that sink in. And as a result, many people have thought for years, and you may have thought this, hey, I've got this figured out. I'm going to retire. My expenses in retirement will be lower. But when you add up all the withdrawals from your IRAs, your 401ks, your Social Security benefits, and your other investment income, there's a pretty darn good chance that that's going to push you into a higher tax bracket, which means less money in your pocket for retirement and more money going to places that you might not necessarily agree with. So to prevent this from becoming your reality right up front, you need to have a plan and a strategy to avoid this from happening to you. But taking back control of the taxes you pay, it doesn't happen automatically. You must act. And it comes down to understanding the difference between tax preparation and tax planning. Now, tax preparation, it's probably something you've done every year. And with the help of a tax preparer or some tax software, you prepare and file your taxes by April 15th each year. But aside from a few deductions that might save you a few dollars, at this point, what's done is done. You're just reporting history. Now, tax planning, on the other hand, it's something altogether different. With tax planning, you're looking forward, not backwards, and you're using tax law to your advantage. Now, tax planning, it can be especially powerful during your retirement years, and the savings could be significant. And it is not uncommon for us to find tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings. For example, I met with a nice couple that's preparing to retire. They have $1 million in their 401k. Now, they think that's their magic number. $1 million, it feels good. And when we ran the tax analysis for them that shows them how much they will pay in tax on the required minimum distributions over their retirement years, taxes again after some of those distributions are reinvested, taxes on their Social Security benefits, and taxes when they pass away, they were absolutely blown away. As it turns out, they had spent years putting money into their IRAs and 401ks, and so now it was a large chunk of their life savings. Yet they had no idea the amount of tax that they would pay in retirement when that money eventually comes out, all because no one ran an analysis for them. But with proper tax planning for this couple, the tax savings, it was over $500,000. That's a lot of money. Now I want you to think about what you could do with $500,000. And for many of our clients, simply having a tax plan has given them the ability to retire when they want to versus having to work several more years. Now this reminds me of someone I met with the other day. She said, I think I'm going to have to work until I'm 70 just to make sure I've got enough. Clearly, she was thinking about that magic random number that she thought she needed. But when we showed her from a tax perspective how much money she could save in tax, she was blown away. That's the power of proper tax planning. You see, the federal government says, hey, these are the strategies you can use to reduce your tax liability in retirement. But in my experience, most people don't know about them because, let's face it, you're busy raising a family, you're busy at work, and that's okay, because it's our job to take a look at this and help you to figure it out. Or as I like to say, Washington-proof your retirement. Now, before the break, we looked at income planning, and in this segment, we're focusing on tax planning. Now, I call this the principle of stacking. So we're stacking the savings from each of these different areas on top of each other, and you'll be surprised by how much money you get back in your pocket when you do this correctly. And we haven't even addressed investing properly. We'll cover that in the next section. Now, let me share something with you. The two stories I just shared with you, those folks, they watched the show, they took action, and that's what I invite you to do. Just take one simple action. Have a tax analysis run for your specific situation to see if there are any tax-saving strategies that you could benefit from. The first step is to identify how much you've saved and what type of account it's in. How much do you have in retirement accounts like 401ks and IRAs? The next step is to identify which tax-saving strategies are best suited for your situation. What does that look like? And once you know the potential tax savings, then the next step is to create a plan around that, which typically starts with your withdrawal strategies, income. And the sooner you do this, the more time you have to plan and to minimize your taxes. Now, in a perfect world, we want to go from someone who's heavily taxed because they haven't done any tax planning to moving to a place that when they're ready to retire, there's no tax on their Social Security because most of it is in those tax-free accounts, like Roth accounts and things like that. So it's a wonderful feeling when you're taking withdrawals and you don't have to worry about taking that huge tax hit before you can spend any of your money. Yet all too often, people don't think about the taxes. And as a result, they wait until the required minimum distribution age to begin withdrawing money. And the reality is, in most cases, this ends up being a huge mistake because all you're doing is kicking the can down the road. Folks, we are at 40-year tax lows right now. And the U.S. national debt, it's growing quickly. And with the threat of rising taxes, don't you think now is a great time to take advantage of strategies to help you to pay less tax in retirement? And that's why time is of the essence, because income taxes are set to increase in about just 2 years. At a time when most folks are worried about their retirements and what's going to happen with inflation in the markets, one of the best things you can do right now is to look at your tax situation for retirement and ask, how much money could I save in taxes by having a plan? So we've looked at the growing national debt and how it could trigger higher taxes and how these higher taxes could take a huge chunk out of your retirement savings. Now, if you're worried about this, you're not alone. That's why so many Americans are taking steps right now to do what I've called Washington-proof their retirement savings. So I want you to learn how you could dramatically reduce your taxes in retirement with our free, customized Cornerstone Retirement Tax Savings Analysis. So first, we get some basic information from you. We'll determine the tax saving strategies best suited for your situation, and then we'll sit down and share that with you so you can determine how much money you could save all through your retirement years. Now, we typically work with families who have saved at least $500,000 or to several $1 million for retirement. But if you've saved at least $250,000, give us a call to schedule your free analysis right now. And when we come back, could you be taking more risk in the stock market than you realize, or more than you need to take at this phase in your life? We'll tackle this when we come back.
At Cornerstone, we believe you should be able to enjoy the retirement you have always wanted. To help you see your retirement strategy from all angles, we created a retirement roadmap, which is designed to help you discover the knowledge you need to take control of your money and live a confident retirement regardless of what challenges arise. So you envision the life you want to live, and we can help you create a plan that leads you down that path. Join us for a conversation about your vision for your ideal retirement. by calling the trusted professionals at Cornerstone.
Behind every photograph is a story. How will your life story be told?
We got the house of our dreams. Thank you for the down payment, Mom and Dad. It helps so much.
20 years ago, I remember hugging you just like this, Dad. Thank you for teaching me strength.
Say hello to Emma. Mom, you gained the title Grandma and a new best friend. She has your eyes, and I know she'll have your heart.
Create a legacy, a story worth telling. To learn how, call 853-9033.
When you have confidence in your retirement future, you can live the life you've always imagined. Because of planning, you now have time to reflect on the wonderful memories of your life. Spend fun times with your grandkids, sharing the joy of their excitement about life. At last, you have time to breathe and rekindle the love of your life. Why? Because you imagined what could be. You planned for retirement. So today, you own your future.
For trustworthy fiduciary-based guidance, call 775-853-9033.
Welcome back to Redefining Retirement, where you can count on straightforward and objective advice on how you can make the most of every dollar you save for retirement. I'm your host, Chris Abts from Cornerstone Wealth Management, and today we're asking the question, how do you know how much money you need to retire successfully? Now, as we've been learning today, you really have no idea how much you'll need until you have a well thought out, comprehensive game plan that includes answers to questions like, how will you generate your income? How will you reduce your taxes? How will you manage your risk? How will you pay for the skyrocketing cost of healthcare? How will you optimize your Social Security benefits? Plus so much more. Now, before the break, we looked at how tax planning can help you significantly reduce the taxes that you'll pay in retirement and how this can dramatically change the amount of money that you need to retire successfully. So now, let's look at a third, and that is how to minimize your investment risk so you can keep more of it in your pocket. First, what's happening in the markets and the economy today? Well, student loan debt, it's at an all-time high. And while payments have been stopped since COVID, they just started in October. So all these people, 45 million people to be exact, they have not been making any student loan payments. Well, that just changed. Home equity lines of credit, those applications, at an all-time high. Yet half of those applications, they're now being declined. Think about that. Half of the people applying for home equity lines are not getting approved. Credit card debt is at an all-time high, over $1 trillion, at a time when interest costs are climbing. Folks, credit card debt is higher today than it was before they printed all that stimulus money and handed out trillions of dollars to individuals. Home affordability, it's at an all-time low, with only a third of dual income households able to buy a home. Delinquencies on all consumer products, auto loans, credit cards, mortgages, they're rapidly rising, hitting a record $17 trillion. Here's a question I have for you. When you think about these statistics and you think about what's happening in the economy, how confident are you with betting your entire life savings that's held inside your IRAs and 401ks and investment accounts that this is going to end well? Today, far too many people are taking a lot more risk than they realize inside their IRAs and 401ks and investment accounts. So let's look at what it means to minimize your investment risk, especially as you get closer to retirement. Now, here at Cornerstone, we meet with so many families, and I'd say that for easily 90% of those cases, they are taking far more risk in their portfolios than they realize, I'd say for two reasons. The first reason is that the markets have grown significantly this year, and most people have money automatically deducted from their paycheck and added to their 401k and IRA. Now, occasionally, they'll look at their statements and think, oh, it's up. That's great. And that's all they're concerned about. So the question I have for you is, when was the last time that you updated or rebalanced your portfolio? And if it's been a while, it's probably wise to check in because there have been some major market swings, especially with the things we just looked at. So while none of us can control the markets or predict the future, an important key takeaway is to understand how much risk you're taking, if that level of risk could derail your retirement goals, and if you should be making any changes. The key is to address this now while you still can do something about it. Folks, the last thing you want is to be nearing retirement, something happens that makes the markets drop, and your ability to retire goes out the window, especially when you could have done something about it. Now here's another key takeaway. You don't want to follow a one-size-fits-all recommendation, like the 60-40 portfolio, for example, where you put 60% in stocks, 40% in bonds, just because that recommendation has been around for a long time. You need to make sure that you're making the right choices for you based on your specific plan and your goals. Looking at the traditional 60-40 portfolio recommendation, where you have the majority of your money in stocks and bonds, the fact is, most bonds have been a bad place to be for the past several years. Or how about another one of those one-size-fits-all recommendations, where you save and invest until you reach this magic random number, and then you withdraw 4% each year for income, all the while thinking, hey, I'm going to be okay, so I can swing for the fence. Folks, that doesn't work if the market drops and you lose a big chunk of money. Bottom line, you need a game plan specific to you and your needs, as well as the best strategies for your situation. And we want to help. If you've saved and invested for retirement, that's important, but at the end of the day, it's really nothing more than a portfolio of investments. It's not a financial game plan. A financial game plan, it asks, how will you reduce your taxes on your IRAs and 401ks? How will you pay for the skyrocketing costs of healthcare? How will you generate stable and predictable income in retirement? These are just a few of the critical issues that we've been looking at today. And before you can even think about retiring, this is something you need to have in place. So we want to do something special for you today. We will create a comprehensive game plan for you, and we won't charge you a dime. It's called the Cornerstone Retirement Money Map. Now, it's not a one-size-fits-all plan. It's customized specifically for you, and it addresses the biggest issues with taxes, income, Social Security, healthcare, IRA and 401k withdrawals, portfolio risk, and so much more. Now keep in mind that many financial advisors will charge thousands of dollars for a customized plan like this, but we won't charge you a dime. So if you've saved at least $250,000 for retirement, give us a call. This could be the single most important tool that you use for retirement that could help you make the most of every dollar you've saved. We've helped thousands to retire successfully. Maybe we could help you as well. That's our show, and I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Jolly good show.